I know a lot of you worry every month about whether your benefits will arrive on time, what a new policy headline might mean for your wallet, or whether a change you didn't even know about could cost you part of your Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or SNAP. You're not alone. When money is tight and so many rules seem to shift without warning, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Today, I want to talk with you in a calm, straightforward way, and I want to use a story that might sound like it's just about celebrity, but it actually points to something deeper: how to keep control of what's yours, how to think long-term, and how to protect your income the way a smart owner protects a business. The example is Beyoncé's path to billionaire status, but the real lesson is about you, your check, your healthcare, your grocery money, and your rights. If we let the noise distract us, we miss the part that matters most: the habits that make money last. When people hear Beyoncé is a billionaire, the first response is usually, of course she is. She's famous and sells out stadiums. But that answer is too simple. Plenty of very famous people never reach that level of wealth. Some even lose what they earned. The more useful question is why her money lasted, grew, and multiplied over time, and what that can teach you and me about keeping our own financial house in order. If you've ever felt like you're just reacting to every new letter in the mail, every insurance change, every tax notice, this story may help you breathe a little easier and see a clearer path forward. Beyoncé didn't begin as a solo artist. She came up with Destiny's Child in the late 1990s. Her father managed the group, which came with ups and downs, but it also taught her early how the business really works: contracts, touring logistics, and where the money actually flows. A lot of artists don't see that side until it's too late. In our world, that's like someone depending on benefits without ever being shown how payment schedules work, how appeals work, or how to protect coverage during renewals. If you've ever been blindsided by a policy you didn't know about, you understand why learning the rules early matters. Knowledge doesn't fix everything, but it gives you a fighting chance. Fast forward to the early 2000s, Destiny's Child winds down and Beyoncé goes solo. Massive success, awards, global tours. But around 2010, she makes a decision most people don't notice at first. She separates from her father professionally and builds Parkwood Entertainment. Parkwood wasn't just a label, it brought almost everything in-house: music, touring, films, documentaries, creative direction, production. Instead of handing out pieces of her career to different companies for a small cut, she took more responsibility in exchange for ownership. On paper, that sounds empowering. In practice, it's risky. When you fund your own projects, if they flop, you absorb the loss. Many artists prefer a guaranteed paycheck and less stress. She picked control, even when it was harder. Let's pause here, because this part is where we start bringing it back to you. Her choice didn't make her rich overnight. It made things more complicated for a while. But ownership meant she kept the back-end profits over time, and that's where the big money lives. For you and me, ownership looks different. It's not a tour or a record catalog. Ownership is knowing your rights, setting up your account so you can see what's happening, keeping your documents in order, and not letting other people make all the decisions for you. When you set up your My Social Security account and check your payment history, you're acting like an owner. When you tell your state Medicaid office in writing about your new address so you don't miss a renewal letter, you're acting like an owner. When you decide whether to enroll in Medicare Advantage or keep original Medicare with a Medigap based on your doctors and your budget, not just on a sales pitch, you're acting like an owner. It's the same principle. Control what you can control, because that's what protects you over time. Touring became the biggest piece of Beyoncé's puzzle. People still think album sales or streaming are where the money is. That used to be true. Not anymore. Touring is the engine, especially for artists who can fill stadiums. Her Renaissance World Tour in 2023 reportedly grossed close to $600 million. Because Parkwood produced it, she didn't just get paid as a performer. She captured a larger share of the profit. Then she turned the tour into multiple streams: tickets, merchandise, and a concert film distributed directly through theaters on terms that let her keep a large portion of the box office. The pattern is simple. She didn't just perform, she built systems around each project, so each effort fed the next one. Let me translate that into our day-to-day. If Social Security is your base, how do you build small systems around it so your month goes more smoothly? One system is setting up direct deposit to avoid paper check delays. Another is knowing your payment schedule so a holiday doesn't catch you off guard. For retirement and disability benefits paid on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday, your exact Wednesday depends on your birthday. If your payment date falls on a federal holiday, it generally arrives the prior business day. Supplemental security income usually pays on the first of the month, with early delivery if the first is a weekend or holiday. If you're new to benefits, your first payment might be offset or arrive later if the agency is still adjusting withholdings for Medicare Part B premiums or checking eligibility. Knowing this reduces panic and helps you line up bill due dates with cash-in dates.
Building systems also means making one effort do multiple jobs. When you gather your documents to renew SNAP, scan them, date them, and save them so the same packet can help with Medicare redetermination, energy assistance applications, or property tax relief. When you speak with Social Security or your state agency, write down the date, the person's name, and what they said. After a call, send a short letter summarizing the conversation and keep a copy. One action, multiple protections. That's your version of turning a tour into a film, merchandise, and future deals. It seems small, but it adds up to fewer mistakes, fewer surprises, and more peace. In 2024, Beyoncé releases Cowboy Carter, a country album. Some people were puzzled because country can have a specific audience, and she already dominated pop and R&B. Why risk it? Long-term thinking looks like risk in the short term. The project wasn't just music, it was a cultural statement and an expansion into a new market. New fans, new touring opportunities, new merchandising angles. Reports around that time described the Cowboy Carter tour as extremely successful, with strong ticket sales and merchandise revenue, and a strategy of doing multiple dates in fewer stadiums. That approach lowers costs, increases efficiency, and creates healthy scarcity. Fans travel, demand stays high, and the numbers improve. When policies change, you and I face similar moments. Sometimes sticking with the old plan feels safer, but paying attention and adjusting can protect you more. If your Medicare Advantage plan drops your doctor next year or raises copays, it may be time to switch during open enrollment or use a special enrollment period. If your state announces new Medicare asset limits or new paperwork requirements, ignoring it feels easier in the moment, but responding early protects a coverage. Like residencies that reduce travel costs, you can reduce your own costs by consolidating care with providers you trust and who stay in network, by using preferred pharmacies, and by checking your plan's annual notice of change each fall so you aren't surprised in January. Efficiency matters in touring. It matters in healthcare too.
When publications later described Beyoncé's net worth climbing into the billionaire range, it wasn't about one lucky year. It was the result of years of decisions stacking on top of one another. That's a good way to think about your benefits and your income. Month by month, things stack. If you report changes to Social Security within 10 days of the end of the month they happen, you avoid overpayments that can claw back hundreds or thousands of dollars later. If your Medicaid renewal packet arrives and you return it quickly with proof, you prevent a gap that could cost you pharmacy coverage right when you need a refill. If you recertify for SNAP on time, you keep access to groceries without interruption. These small actions don't feel dramatic, but over a year, they put a lot of money back in your pocket by avoiding fees, penalties, and lapses. Another pillar of Beyoncé's success is her catalog. Owning a significant portion of her music means the catalog continues generating income through streaming, licensing, films, commercials, and future projects. A tour needs rest. A catalog earns while you sleep. For you, think about Social Security like your personal catalog. It pays every month as long as you live. You can increase your own version of catalog value by making a few strategic choices. If you haven't claimed yet, understand the trade-offs. Claiming at 62 gives you a smaller check for life. Waiting until full retirement age, or even up to 70, increases the monthly amount. If you're a surviving spouse or divorced after a long marriage, you may have rights to survivor or spousal benefits. If the agency denies a claim or changes your benefit, you have the right to appeal. And if you appeal on time, you can often ask to continue benefits while the appeal is pending. Those rights might be the difference between a smooth year and a stressful one. They're part of your ownership. Business ventures also played a role in her story. Hair care, fashion, spirits. Not the core driver, but helpful for diversification and leverage. For you and me, diversification might look like a small part-time job that stays within the Social Security earnings limit before full retirement age, so you don't reduce your benefit by accident. It might mean using programs you're already eligible for to lower costs, effectively increasing your take-home. If you have limited income, extra help can reduce your Part D drug costs. Medicare savings programs can pay your Part B premium and sometimes cover copays, which is like giving yourself a raise every month. Lifeline can reduce your phone bill, and energy assistance can reduce your utility bills.
These programs are not charity. They are federal and state benefits you paid into or that exist to keep Americans stable and healthy. Using them is smart, not shameful. There's also often a question that comes up whenever we talk about wealthy people. Should we celebrate billionaires? That's a fair question with a lot of feelings attached to it. What I notice in Beyoncé's case is how she talks about money and boundaries. Statements like, "No amount of money is worth my peace," choosing to limit touring when her children are in school, and protecting her time and energy. That might be the quiet lesson that matters most to us. You need peace to make good decisions. Set boundaries with spam calls pretending to be from Social Security or Medicare. The real agencies don't call to demand a payment or ask for your bank account on the spot. Hang up, breathe, and call the official number on your statement. Protect your energy by sorting your mail once a week with a folder for Social Security, one for Medicare, one for state benefits. When a letter arrives, act within the deadline. Then take a walk and let yourself relax. Health and money are connected. Calm, steady moves will protect your wallet more than panic ever will.
Beyoncé is only one of a handful of musicians to reach that level of wealth. Most don't, because fame alone doesn't do it. Ownership, leverage, and patience do. Think about how that translates. Ownership is knowing your rights and keeping copies of every letter you send. Leverage is using every program you qualify for so that each dollar stretches further. Patience is creating a simple budget that fits your payment schedule and sticking with it month after month. It isn't glamorous, but it's exactly how people on fixed incomes stay secure, even when policies swing back and forth. And this story isn't over, for her or for you. She's hinted that Renaissance and Cowboy Carter are part of a trilogy. That means more reinvention ahead. In your life, there will be more changes too. New COLA adjustments, updated Medicare premiums, possible state Medicaid expansions, and sometimes confusing notices. If we keep returning to the same principles, you won't be caught off guard. Let's get practical now and talk about the timelines and the rights you can use. Social Security retirement and disability payments follow a schedule tied to your birthday, usually the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. If your birthday is early in the month, you're on the earlier Wednesday. If it's later, you're on the later Wednesday. SSI is paid on the first of the month. If that date is a weekend or holiday, it's paid the prior business day. If you ever miss a payment that should have arrived, first check whether a federal holiday shifted it. Then look at your bank in the morning, and again that afternoon, because direct deposits can post at different times. If nothing shows, call Social Security directly or check your online account. If you use Direct Express, log in and review transaction history. Sometimes a bank will place a temporary hold. Knowing the pattern helps prevent unnecessary worry.
Medicare premiums can be deducted from your Social Security check if you're receiving benefits, or billed directly if you're not. If you see an unexpected change in your deposit, it could be a premium adjustment or an income-related surcharge if your past income was above certain thresholds. If your income has gone down due to retirement, divorce, or job loss, you can ask for a reconsideration and often lower those extra charges. That's a right many people don't use simply because they don't know it exists. With Part D and Medicare Advantage plans, pay attention to letters about changes for the next year and decide during the annual enrollment period whether to stay or switch. If you receive extra help or a Medicare savings program, your options may include a special period to switch even outside the general window. Medicaid redeterminations are a big issue right now. Many states are reviewing eligibility. If you moved and the state doesn't have your current address, they may send a renewal notice to an old place and close your case for non-response. Don't wait for trouble. Call your Medicaid office, verify your address, ask when your renewal is due, and write down what they say. If you receive a letter asking for proof of income, identity, or residency, send it back with copies and keep proof you mailed it. If the state closes your case and you think it's a mistake, ask for a fair hearing right away and request your coverage continue until the hearing decision. You often have a limited window to ask for continued coverage. Acting quickly can keep your medications, doctor visits, and treatments uninterrupted while you fix the issue. You are not powerless here. Due process exists for a reason.
SNAP has its own cycles. Recertification usually happens every year, sometimes every 2 or 3 years for seniors with stable income. If you get a recertification packet, fill it out, attach proof, and return it before the deadline. Report changes in income or household size as required. If your EBT card is compromised, report it immediately and ask your state about replacement benefits. Some states now have protections in place for fraud losses reported promptly. If a store overcharges or a transaction looks wrong, contest it quickly. Always keep your card PIN private and be cautious at ATMs and card readers. Small habits protect your food budget. Taxes can also touch your benefits. Social Security sends a form each January showing how much you received the prior year. Depending on your total income, part of your Social Security may be subject to federal income tax. Planning ahead can prevent a surprise bill. You can ask Social Security to withhold a small amount for taxes from each check or make quarterly estimated payments if needed. If medical costs are heavy, keep receipts. Certain expenses may be deductible if you itemize. If you donate from an IRA directly to a charity after you reach a certain age, that can satisfy required distributions without increasing your taxable income. These are tools to lower the pressure. If your income has dropped significantly, remember to check if that can reduce your Medicare income-related charges. Again, document the change and ask for a new determination. Let me give you a couple of simple, real-world examples just to make this concrete. Imagine Maria, 67, living on Social Security with a small pension. She receives a Medicaid renewal letter, but it arrives a week before the deadline. She calls the number on the letter, asks for more time, and is told to submit proof by the end of the month. She scans her Social Security award letter, her pension statement, and her ID, writes the date on every page, and drops it off in person, asking for a stamped receipt. She writes down the worker's name and the time. A week later, she checks her online account and sees her case is still pending. She calls, confirms they have her documents, and asks if anything else is needed. Because she acted fast and kept proof, her coverage continues without interruption. That is ownership. That is how peace feels.
Now John, 70, receives an unexpected lower Social Security deposit. He checks his online account and sees a Medicare premium adjustment due to a higher income from 2 years ago when he was still working, but now he's fully retired. He files a request to reduce the extra charge, attaching proof of retirement and lower current income. Within a couple of months, his premium drops and his monthly deposit returns to normal. Without checking, he could have worried for weeks. With a simple action, he fixes it and moves on. If a letter arrives saying you owe Social Security money because they overpaid you, don't panic. You have the right to appeal if you believe it's an error. You also have the right to ask for a waiver if the overpayment wasn't your fault and paying it back would cause hardship. If you need to repay, you can ask for a reasonable plan instead of having your entire check withheld. Put your request in writing and keep a copy. If you ask for reconsideration within the deadline, they may pause collection while they review. These are your rights, and they exist so one mistake doesn't throw your life into chaos. Scams are another quiet threat. If someone calls claiming to be from Social Security or Medicare and pressures you to give your bank details or threatens to cut off your benefits, hang up. Real agencies do not operate that way. If you want to be sure, call the official number on your statement or visit your local office. Never click a link in a surprise email about your benefits. Go directly to the official website you already know. Your caution is a form of ownership too. It's how you keep what's yours.
You might be wondering how all of this connects back to Beyoncé. To me, it's the same foundation. She built an ecosystem where music feeds touring, touring feeds films, films feed brand power, and brand power feeds businesses. Everything is connected and supports everything else. In our daily lives, Social Security feeds the rent, SNAP feeds the pantry, Medicaid or Medicare keeps you healthy so you don't lose everything to a hospital bill, and careful attention to taxes keeps more of your money in your pocket. One piece supports the next. When you put them together with intention, you create stability that grows stronger with time. Even if none of us are selling out stadiums, the core ideas translate. Own your process. Understand where your money comes from and where it goes. Think long-term instead of reacting only to the next crisis. If you set up direct deposit, learn your payment schedule, make a simple budget that matches your deposit dates, and keep a small buffer if you can, you will feel less anxious every time the mail arrives. If you organize your documents, prepare for renewals, and know your appeal rights, you will sleep better when a confusing letter shows up. If you use the programs you qualify for to lower your costs, you will stretch your fixed income further without cutting into essentials. And if a change knocks you sideways, you will know the steps to get back on track.
Let me end by bringing it all together. Beyoncé's success wasn't luck. It was control, patience, and smart systems. For you and me, control is knowing our rights and using them. Patience is building routines that keep money flowing smoothly month after month. Smart systems are the small habits that prevent big problems. You don't have to do everything at once.
Start with what eases your mind right now. Check your payment dates for the next 3 months and mark them on a calendar. Open a My Social Security account or log in and make sure your direct deposit details are correct. Gather your latest award letters, IDs, and proof of address into one folder. If you have Medicaid or SNAP, confirm that your state has your correct address and phone number. If you're on Medicare, read your plan's annual notice and write down anything that changed for the new year. If a notice arrives that you don't understand, don't wait. Call, ask questions, and if needed, submit a written request to protect your benefits while you sort it out. You deserve clarity, and you have the right to it. I want you to feel reassured and informed, not afraid. The rules can be confusing, and the headlines can be loud, but your path doesn't have to be. Keep your focus on the things you can control. Use the protections the law gives you. Lean on the timeline and the systems you build. And remember, money isn't just numbers. It's your roof, your meals, your medicines, your peace. When you protect your benefits with steady, thoughtful steps, you are doing exactly what a good owner does. If this conversation helped you feel more clear about what to do next, take one small action today. Verify your next payment date. Call your state agency to confirm they have your correct address. Check whether you qualify for extra help or a Medicare savings program. Put your documents in one place and write today's date on the folder. Small actions turn into strong protection. This video is for general education. I'm not your lawyer, financial planner, or tax advisor. Benefits and taxes depend on your specific situation and your state. Always check your own letters and call the official Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or state agency numbers on your statements for guidance about your case. But know this, you are not alone, you are not powerless, and you can protect what's yours with calm, steady steps.